Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the movie Hangout, and let's talk about Disney selling Lucasfilm. Yes, I did not stutter. Some crazy things are going down, but before I jump into what is happening, if you're going over, click subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, and like this video. I want to hear your opinion is on what the future may hold for Disney and Lucasfilm. Okay, so if you're like me, I grew up loving Disney. I was a kid in the 90s. I mean, I was like diehard Disney cartoons. I loved their movies, their animation. I mean, it was cutting edge. Everybody loved it. I also loved Star Wars. The original three episodes, 4, 5, and 6, I think are just like, they're timeless. They're never going to be matched by anything else. The other movies, the other Star Wars films, hit or miss. It has not been a good trajectory for Lucasfilm. Consistently, the films and the content are just that content. It's just stuff that they regurgitate. It's like making sausages with Disney. They look at, the lightsaber, the Force, the Skywalkers, Vader, the Empire. Those are just like different, hot dogs, sausages. They just crank out and toss to people with no more thought put into them. Unfortunately for Disney, though, the original fan base of Star Wars has abandoned, not completely, but a large portion of people, the diehard fans, have abandoned the brand because they just don't want to give their time and money anymore. Disney has done a terrible job of reaching out to those people. And also Disney put all their eggs in the basket of new fans, the younger generation jumping on board. So they put out a lot of content that is just horrible. It's unwatchable. It's embarrassing, thinking that the younger generation is going to embrace it and spend their money. Hasn't really happened. The numbers just really don't show that. So now Disney, Bob Iger, it's been Bob Iger's fault. I blame him. He bought Marvel. He bought Lucasfilm. He put people in power like Kathleen Kennedy, who drove the thing into the ground. He could have fired her at any moment, but he doesn't have the will or the courage to do it. So here we are. It's been reported that Disney reportedly looking to sell more film and television series to rival studios. Now, Bob Iger is painting this picture like, oh no, this is a good thing. We want to share the IP, the intellectual property with other people. We have this great content. It's great for the culture, great for storytelling. We want to share it so other people can make it, and we're all going to get better. Well, first of all, from a business standpoint, why would you do that? Why would you allow your competitors to make boatloads of cash off of your intellectual property? Why wouldn't you make it yourself? I mean, let's face it, Disney is not a small operation. It's a huge multinational corporation with bases all over the world. They own factories, pretty much every third world country. They can crank out plush toys, video games, movies, anything they want to do. There's really no reason why they would allow another company to reap the benefits of sharing profits. What this tells me is that Disney is in a lot of trouble. They've resorted to having to take a smaller percentage, a smaller cut of all of their merchandise in hopes that somebody else outside the company comes up with a better idea, comes up with maybe new characters, maybe a new take on existing characters, maybe like a different version of Mickey Mouse, maybe a different version of Aladdin, a different version of, in this case, Lucasfilm. Because frankly, because Bob Iger put such toxic, divisive people in power that have just like a one-track mind, there's nowhere for the content to really go at this point. Disney, for the most part, has killed Star Wars. And it's crazy because you see on Disney Plus so much content. So you think, how could they have killed Star Wars? Well, what they did was they destroyed their loyal fan base, and they also took the most coveted characters, really in all of like modern storytelling. Luke Skywalker, Leia, Han Solo, Chewie, Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda. I mean, all of these great characters. And they ruined the mythology. They didn't honor the mythology. They added things to it that took away from the mythology to fit a current year agenda that the people that Bob Iger put in charge have. And they are just, I mean, it's almost like they are just unwilling to bend to anything else. They're willing to go down with the ship, thinking what they think, and anybody who has a different viewpoint, you are just gone. And so what Lucasfilm has done, they've pretty much cleaned house. People with different ideas, alternative ideas, they're gone. They've either been fired or they've left and they've gone to other companies. So this is what they're left with. So I don't feel bad for Disney at all in the slightest. You reap what you sow. You know, you made your bed, you got to sleep in it. So the Walt Disney Company owns some of the biggest franchises of all time, from Marvel to Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Just watch. They're going to ruin Indiana Jones. I guarantee it. But according to a new report, Disney's looking to sell some IP from both film and television to rival studios. According to Bloomberg, Disney is seeking to earn more cash from its enormous content library. This move would change the company's strategy of putting a majority of its original programming to their streaming services, Disney Plus and Hulu, as pressure mounts to curb their losses in the streaming sphere. So basically with Disney Plus, what's going on with that is they're cranking out so much content right now that is just mediocre to just terrible. And what's happening is that they're retaining people to some degree who are subscribing to Disney Plus, but they're not really adding to people. They're not gaining new subscribers because people just don't really see the value. What people see the value in, and this is how I view it, is that what I see in Disney Plus is their old movies, like movies made 10 years or more ago, older Pixar films, and just the regular Disney animation. All of this stuff made 8 to 10 years ago and all the way back to the beginning of the company is really, really good. It's consistent. The storytelling is fantastic. There are good morals to teach kids. There's nothing really weird or political that's added in there that's trying to subvert what parents are trying to teach their kids. It really is like safe content. You could sit a kid in front of and walk away and they're left alone looking at it and it's fine. They're not gonna learn anything weird or anything strange. But that has changed. So that's what's changed with the company. So now people look at Disney differently. And that's Bob Iger's fault again. He put people in power that want to do that want to subvert parents and fit a certain agenda. So it says right here, last year the company turned in its worst stock market results in decades after Disney reported a $1.5 billion loss for its online video business in the third quarter. The board fired Chief Executive Officer Bob Chapek. Bob Chapek, he was a scapegoat. Everybody underneath him was put into place by Bob Iger. Chapek was pretty much just the fall guy. He didn't create any of the movies that tanked or the shows that tanked or did bad, because it takes several years to actually complete an animated film. And so he wasn't even CEO for enough time to even really develop anything. He just kind of sat there and watched the company burn. Taking over for Chapek is the return of Bob Iger, which is really bad, who held the job for 15 years. See, 15 years, it's plenty enough time for him to pretty much destroy everything internally. Iger is now in a position to get the company back on track. I don't think so, because he took it off track, all while dealing with a proxy fight by activist Nelson Peltz. So really what they're doing is Bob Iger set up the company to be able to purchase intellectual property like Star Wars and Marvel, right? So people looked at that and they go, "Oh, that's great, man!" As an investment, as an investor, that's fantastic, right? Because there's good characters, good stories, if you actually utilize them. So he got people to sign on the dotted line, and then he used those characters to not honor the content that people would pay to see. Instead, he used those characters as like sock puppets to say things that he himself and people who are in his inner circle believe that none of us care about and we think is weird and bizarre. We don't want to see coming from Disney. So this other guy, Nelson Peltz, basically what's going on with him is Bob Iger is putting out all this negative publicity and press about Nelson Peltz, like pretending like there's something wrong with this guy, when in fact it's Bob Iger. And it says, this Peltz, who's seeking a seat on Disney's board and pushing for better performance. Oh man, how dare this guy want better performance, right? Wow, we're just a really just fringe guy. You know what I mean? Iger has already reversed decisions made by Chapek during his short tenure, including offering free photos and lowering the price of tickets to its theme parks. Anybody with half a brain would have thought of that, which caused an uproar from pass holders and visiting guests alike. Okay, so reading all this, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with Star Wars? Well, since Star Wars has performed so poorly at the box office, it hasn't performed very well. The last 3 films have not done very well in relation to what they should have earned at the current exchange rate. And as far as like everybody on the planet kind of already knowing what Star Wars is, each film should have made like $2 billion, like Avatar level money. Didn't do it. Also, Disney Star Wars, the actual like hotel theme, tanking horribly. They're like giving away like discounted tickets so people will actually go because they can't even fill the rooms. Like nobody wants to pay $1,000 a night to sleep in this thing. Also, there's been a lot of problems at the theme park, at the Star Wars theme park. Rides have been broken down. Merchandise is shoddy and really cheap and overpriced, to say the least. A lot of people are complaining about it. They're not buying anything. So Bob Iger now is looking at Lucasfilm, at the brand of Star Wars, as being really valuable, because it is. Because anybody who cares about it, who actually tells the stories that have already been written, who honors the characters that have already been laid out, all the hard work has already been done for you, Bob, but you threw it all away. But unfortunately, there's no going back, because you can't. Carrie Fisher's gone. Han Solo, the character, is gone. You can't undo what you've already done, dude. So I don't feel bad for him. Maybe this is a good thing. Maybe a company can buy Star Wars and actually do something really amazing. Maybe they'll bring back Princess Leia and like an AI kind of like, resurrector on screen using AI, and we'll finally get the reunion we all deserved and we waited decades for. So maybe it's good, but let me know what you think. Do you think it's a good thing if Disney sells Lucasfilm so that another company can make Star Wars movies and content? Or do you think that Disney's doing a fantastic job and should just keep on cranking out hot dogs and just tossing them at people left and right? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you want to get future rants, reviews, or original content, click subscribe. Later.